The Gulf of Mexico was calm that night in August 1990. The air thick with salt and humidity at 82 degrees Fahrenheit. The cruise ship Caribbean Dream cut through black water 180 miles southeast of Galveston, Texas, carrying 1,847 passengers back toward port after 7 days of sunshine and escape. Among them was Sarah Jennings, 22 years old, a recent college graduate from Norman, Oklahoma, population 68,020, celebrating the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. At 11:47 p.m., security cameras captured her walking down Deck 7, Corridor C, her white sundress glowing under fluorescent lights, a small purse over her shoulder. She smiled at a passing couple, swiped her keycard at cabin 742, and stepped inside. By 9:15 a.m. the next morning, when housekeeping knocked on her locked door, Sarah Jennings had vanished from her room secured from the inside. No screams, no distress calls, no witnesses. The door was locked. The porthole window was latched. The bedsheets were disturbed but not torn. And Sarah, blonde hair, green eyes, 5 feet 4 inches, 118 pounds, a geology major who loved vintage records and wanted to work for the U.S. Geological Survey, was gone. What happened in the 9 hours and 28 minutes between the moment she entered that cabin and the moment housekeeping discovered her absence? That question would haunt investigators, her family, and the maritime industry for 33 years, until a single strand of hair, preserved in an evidence envelope in a climate-controlled vault in Miami, finally spoke. If you want to follow more cold cases solved by forensic breakthroughs, subscribe now, because this story proves that evidence never forgets, even when the world moves on. Sarah Jennings wakes at 8:30 a.m. in cabin 742, a modest interior stateroom with 2 twin beds, a narrow bathroom, and walls the color of hospital corridors. Her roommate and best friend since high school, Jennifer Calloway, is already up, applying sunscreen in the mirror. They've been inseparable this week. Poolside margaritas, karaoke nights, a disastrous attempt at salsa dancing that left them both in hysterics. Today is the last full day of the cruise before they dock in Galveston tomorrow morning and drive the 6 hours back to Oklahoma. Last day of freedom, Jennifer says, grinning. Sarah laughs. Last day before I have to figure out what I'm doing with my geology degree. They head to the Lido deck for the breakfast buffet. Sarah orders scrambled eggs, bacon, orange juice, and a chocolate croissant. She has a sweet tooth that never quits. They sit near the railing, watching the endless blue horizon. The ship's engines hum steadily beneath them, a low vibration that has become familiar white noise over the past week. At 10:15 a.m., Sarah and Jennifer claim lounge chairs by the main pool. The temperature climbs to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Sarah reapplies SPF 30 every hour, meticulous about her fair skin. She reads a John Grisham paperback, The Firm, and drinks 2 piña coladas. A photographer from the ship's portrait studio takes their picture. Jennifer's arm around Sarah's shoulders, both of them squinting into the sun, laughing. That photo will later appear on missing person flyers distributed across 3 states. At 1:30 p.m., they eat poolside burgers. Sarah orders hers with extra pickles and no onions. She tells Jennifer about a guy she met earlier in the week, a medical student from Houston named Derek, but says it's nothing serious. Just vacation fun, she shrugs. At 4 p.m., they return to the cabin to shower and change for the formal captain's dinner at 7 p.m. Sarah wears a teal dress she bought specifically for this night, with pearl earrings her grandmother gave her for graduation. Jennifer snaps a Polaroid of her posing in front of the cabin mirror. Sarah's hair is curled, her lipstick is coral, and her smile is wide and genuine. At 6:55 p.m., they arrive at the grand dining room on Deck 3. The room is enormous. Chandeliers, white tablecloths, waiters in tuxedos. They're seated at a table with 6 other passengers, including an elderly couple from Tulsa who make them laugh with stories about their first cruise in 1962. Sarah orders filet mignon, medium rare, and creme brulee for dessert. She drinks 2 glasses of white wine. The waiter later tells investigators that she seemed happy, relaxed, normal. At 9:30 p.m., The ship's entertainment director announces the final night talent show in the Coral Lounge. Sarah and Jennifer decide to watch. The lounge is packed, standing room only. A man performs a magic act. A woman sings Whitney Houston. A kid does yo-yo tricks. Then, spontaneously, Sarah and Jennifer sign up for the lip-sync competition. They perform Madonna's Like a Prayer with exaggerated choreography, and the crowd loves it. They win third place, a bottle of cheap champagne and 2 ship logo keychains. Sarah clutches the keychain, grinning. "We're taking this back to Oklahoma," she says. At 11:12 p.m., Sarah uses the ship's payphone near the casino to call her parents in Norman. The call costs $4.80 per minute. Her mother, Sarah Jennings, answers. "Hi, Mom. Just wanted to say goodnight. We'll be docking tomorrow morning around 10 a.m., so we should be home by dinner time. Did you have fun, sweetheart? The best. I'm so glad we did this. Drive safe tomorrow. Call me when you get to Galveston. I will. Love you." "Love you too, Sarah." That call ends at 11:17 p.m. It is the last time Sarah Jennings hears her daughter's voice. At 11:35 p.m., Sarah and Jennifer leave the casino level and head back toward their cabin. Jennifer wants to stop by the midnight buffet, but Sarah is tired. "I'm just gonna head back and crash," she says. "Big day tomorrow." They hug goodnight in the corridor. Jennifer continues toward the buffet on Deck 9. Sarah walks alone down Deck 7, Corridor C. At 11:47 p.m., security camera 7C04 captures Sarah approaching cabin 742. She is alone. She pulls her keycard from her purse, swipes it, and the green light blinks. The door opens. She steps inside. The door closes behind her. The lock clicks, and Sarah Jennings is never seen again. At 9:15 a.m., Maria Delgado, a housekeeping attendant, knocks on the door of cabin 742. It's her 12th room of the morning. She has cleaned this corridor for 3 years and knows the rhythm. Knock twice, call out housekeeping, wait 5 seconds, use the master keycard if no one answers. She knocks. Housekeeping. No response. She swipes her master keycard. The light blinks red. The door is locked from the inside using the manual deadbolt, a feature passengers can engage for extra privacy. Maria frowns. This is unusual but not unheard of. She knocks harder. Housekeeping. Anyone inside? Still nothing. She radios her supervisor, Elena Ruiz. "I've got a locked cabin on Deck 7. Guest isn't responding. Try again in 30 minutes, Elena says. At 9:50 a.m., Maria returns. She knocks again, louder this time. No answer. She calls Elena again. Still locked. Still no response. Elena arrives at 10:05 a.m. She knocks. She calls out. She presses her ear to the door. Silence. She radios ship security. At 10:18 a.m., security officer Raymond Lesko arrives with a maintenance technician named Carlos Vega. They knock repeatedly. Ship security. "Open the door, please." Nothing. Carlos examines the lock. Deadbolt is engaged from inside. We'll need to override it. It takes 12 minutes to remove the door from its hinges without damaging the frame. At 10:30 a.m., the door swings open. The cabin is empty. The lights are off. The curtains are drawn. The beds are made, though one, the bed on the right, Sarah's bed, has wrinkled sheets and an indent in the pillow, as if someone slept there briefly. The bathroom door is ajar. The shower is dry. 2 towels hang neatly on the rack. Sarah's suitcase sits open on the luggage stand, clothes folded inside. Her purse is on the nightstand. Her wallet is inside the purse, containing $83 in cash and her Oklahoma driver's license. Her keycard is on the dresser. But Sarah is gone. Officer Lesko radios the bridge. "We've got a missing passenger. Cabin 742, Deck 7. Female, early 20s. Cabin was locked from inside. No sign of her." At 10:35 a.m., Captain Gerald Moss is notified. He orders an immediate shipwide search and announces over the PA system, "Attention all passengers and crew. We are conducting a routine safety drill. Please remain calm and stay in your current location until further notice. It's not a drill. Within 20 minutes, 30 crew members are deployed to search the ship from bow to stern. They check every public area. The pool decks, the dining rooms, the casino, the theater, the gym, the spa, the library, the gift shops. They search the crew quarters, the galley, the engine room, the laundry facilities. They knock on every cabin door on Deck 7, then Deck 6, then Deck 5. They check the lifeboats, the storage rooms, the refrigerated cargo holds. At 11 a.m., Jennifer Calloway is located in the buffet line on Deck 9. She is confused, then alarmed. What do you mean she's missing? I left her at the cabin last night. She was going to sleep. When did you last see her? Around 11:35 p.m. She was tired. She went back to the room. Did she seem upset? Distressed? No. She was fine. Happy. We won a lip-sync contest. Jennifer is escorted to the security office for a formal interview. She provides a timeline of Sarah's last day, hour by hour. She shows them the Polaroid from earlier that evening. Sarah in the teal dress, smiling. At 11:30 a.m., Captain Moss makes the decision to reverse course and retrace the ship's route from the previous night. The Caribbean Dream turns around, engines groaning, and begins a slow grid search of the water they crossed between midnight and dawn. At 12:15 p.m., the U.S. Coast Guard is notified. 2 helicopters are dispatched from Air Station Corpus Christi, 140 miles away. They arrive at 1:50 p.m. and begin aerial sweeps, flying low over the water, searching for any sign of a body, debris, clothing, anything. The Gulf of Mexico is vast and indifferent. The water is dark blue, almost black in places, and the surface is choppy with whitecaps. Visibility is good 8 miles, but the ocean has a way of swallowing things whole. At 2 p.m., the FBI is contacted. Because the ship is in international waters, the case falls under federal maritime jurisdiction. Special Agent Laura Hendricks, based in the FBI's Houston field office, is assigned as lead investigator. She boards the ship via Coast Guard helicopter at 3:30 p.m. By 4 p.m., Agent Hendricks has commandeered the ship's conference room as a makeshift command center. She interviews Captain Moss, Security Officer Lesko, and Jennifer Calloway. She reviews the security footage from the previous night. The footage is grainy, black and white, recorded on VHS tape. It shows Sarah walking down Corridor C at 11:47 p.m., alone, entering her cabin. The timestamp in the corner reads, 23 hours 47 minutes and 18 seconds. Agent Hendricks rewinds and watches again. And again. Sarah's body language is relaxed. She's not looking over her shoulder. She's not hurrying. She enters the cabin calmly. The door closes, and that's it. What's the next camera? Hendricks asks. There isn't one, Lesko says. We only have cameras in main corridors and public areas. Individual cabin doors aren't monitored. So we don't see anyone else approaching her cabin after she enters? Correct. And the cabin was locked from the inside? Yes, ma'am. Deadbolt engaged. We had to remove the door. Hendricks leans back in her chair, thinking. A woman enters a locked cabin and vanishes. No screams. No alerts. No witnesses. Either she left the cabin voluntarily at some point during the night, which would mean she unlocked the door herself, or someone else entered the cabin, took her, and relocked the door from inside before leaving. But how? At 5:30 p.m., forensic technicians from the FBI's evidence response team arrive via helicopter. They seal off cabin 742 with yellow tape and begin processing the scene. They dust for fingerprints. The cabin is covered in them. Sarah's prints, Jennifer's prints, housekeeping prints, maintenance prints. The ship has been in service for 8 years. Thousands of passengers have stayed in this cabin. They collect dozens of prints, but most are smudged or partial, useless for identification. They use luminol to check for blood. The chemical spray glows faintly under UV light in 3 locations. A small spot near the foot of Sarah's bed, another near the bathroom threshold, and a third on the inside of the cabin door handle. The spots are tiny, each no larger than a dime, and could be blood or could be something else entirely. Samples are collected in sterile vials labeled FBI, CSI 001, FBI CSI 002, FBI CSI 003. They vacuum the carpet, collecting fibers, hair, and particulate matter. One blonde hair is found on Sarah's pillow, likely hers. But another hair, darker and shorter, is found on the floor near the bathroom. It is collected in evidence bag FBI, hair 004. They photograph everything. The rumpled bed, the open suitcase, the purse on the nightstand, the wallet inside, the cash and ID untouched. They note that Sarah's shoes, white sandals, are on the floor beside her bed. Her toothbrush is in the bathroom. Her makeup bag is on the sink. By 7 p.m., the forensic sweep is complete. Agent Hendricks reviews the findings. So we have possible blood traces, one unidentified hair, and a locked room mystery. No body, no weapon, no clear point of exit. Could she have jumped? Lesko asks quietly. Hendricks considers it. Suicide by drowning is rare but not unheard of on cruise ships. But Sarah showed no signs of distress. Her friends described her as happy. She had plans for the future. And most critically, if she jumped, she would have had to unlock the cabin door, leave, walk to a deck with open railing, and go overboard. But the door was locked from inside when housekeeping arrived. I don't think she jumped, Hendricks says. I think someone took her. At 8 p.m., as the sun sets over the Gulf, the Coast Guard suspends the aerial search. No body has been found. No debris. No clothing. Nothing. The Caribbean Dream docks in Galveston at 10:30 p.m., 12 hours behind schedule. Passengers disembark in stunned silence. Reporters are waiting at the terminal, cameras flashing. The story is already breaking on local news. Young woman vanishes from locked cabin on cruise ship. Jennifer Calloway walks down the gangway in tears, escorted by FBI agents. She will return to Norman, Oklahoma, the next day, alone, carrying the keychain from the talent show and the Polaroid of Sarah smiling in her teal dress. Carol and Robert Jennings, Sarah's parents, arrive in Galveston from Oklahoma at 2 a.m. on August 26. They are met by Agent Hendricks in a small, windowless room at the Port Authority building. We're doing everything we can, Hendricks says, but I need you to prepare for the possibility that we may not find her alive. Carol Jennings collapses into her husband's arms, sobbing. The case is officially classified as a missing person investigation, suspected homicide. The FBI opens file #90 maritime 4721, and for the next 33 years that file will remain open, cold, and unsolved. The FBI's investigation begins in earnest the moment the Caribbean Dream is cleared and impounded at the port of Galveston. For 6 days, federal agents comb through every inch of the vessel, treating it as a floating crime scene the size of a city block. Special Agent Laura Hendricks establishes a rotating team of 12 investigators working 8-hour shifts. They start at the top, the sun decks, the pool areas, the open-air promenades, and work their way down through 15 decks to the engine rooms and crew quarters below the waterline. The ship carries 847 crew members from 23 countries, and every single one is interviewed. The forensic focus remains on cabin 742. Technicians return to the room 4 separate times, each sweep more meticulous than the last. They dismantle the air vent covers, checking for any sign that something or someone could have been moved through the ductwork. The vents are narrow, barely 12 inches across. Impossible for an adult body. They inspect the porthole window. Its standard size may be 18 inches in diameter, secured with a latch that shows no signs of tampering. Even if it had been opened, the drop to the water below is 60 feet. No one survives that fall into open ocean at night without leaving some trace. A scream, a splash heard by another passenger. Something. On August 28th, a forensic locksmith named Gerald Pratt is brought in to examine the cabin door mechanism. Pratt has 30 years of experience and has testified in over 200 criminal cases. He spends 4 hours analyzing the lock, the deadbolt, the electronic keycard system. Could someone exit the room and lock it from outside? Hendricks asks. Pratt shakes his head. Not with this model. The manual deadbolt can only be engaged from inside the cabin. Once it's locked, the only way to open it is to disengage the bolt from the interior or physically remove the door, which is what your crew did. So whoever locked this door had to be inside the room when they did it. Correct. Hendrik stares at the door, thinking. So either Sarah locked herself in and somehow vanished, impossible, or someone else was in the room with her, took her out, and then relocked the door from inside before exiting through. Where? The window is too small. The vent is too narrow. The only exit is the door. Unless, what about a master keycard? Hendricks asks. Could crew members override the deadbolt remotely? Pratt examines the system again. No. Master keycards bypass the electronic lock, but they can't disengage a manual deadbolt. That's the whole point. It gives passengers an extra layer of security against unwanted entry. Dead end. On September 3rd, the blood samples collected from cabin 742 returned from the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia. The results are frustrating. FBI CSI 001, spot near bed human blood, typo positive. Consistent with Sarah Jennings' blood type, but also one of the most common blood types in the world. No usable DNA profile due to sample degradation and contamination from cleaning chemicals. FBI CSI 002 bathroom threshold inconclusive. Possibly blood, possibly rust from old plumbing. FBI CSI 003 door handle human blood, typo positive. Same issues as sample 001, too degraded for DNA analysis. 1990 DNA technology is still in its infancy. The FBI's CODIS database won't be operational until 1998. Polymerase chain reaction, PCR, testing is available but expensive and requires pristine samples. The blood traces from the cabin are simply too compromised. Wiped down by housekeeping staff over months. Layered with cleaning products. Baked under fluorescent lights. The single dark hair, FBI Hair 004, offers slightly more hope. It's short, approximately 2 inches long, dark brown or black, and doesn't match Sarah's blonde hair or Jennifer's light brown hair. But hair analysis in 1990 is primitive. Without a root bulb attached, DNA extraction is nearly impossible. The lab can determine that the hair likely belongs to a male of Hispanic or Mediterranean descent, based on microscopic examination of the shaft structure. But that narrows the suspect pool to approximately 300 of the 847 crew members. Still, it's something. On September 10th, Agent Hendricks orders the ship's internal surveillance footage to be reviewed frame by frame. 2 junior agents, David Kwan and Monica Torres, are assigned to watch 72 hours of grainy VHS tape. Every camera, every corridor, every public space, starting from August 24th at 6 p.m. through August 25th at 6 p.m. Takes them 9 days. They compile a timeline of every person who walked down Deck 7, Corridor C, between 11:47 p.m. and 6 a.m. 11:52 p.m. Asterisk a couple in their 60s returns to cabin 738. 4 doors down from Sarah's cabin. They enter their room and don't reemerge. 12:14 a.m. Asterisk a man in his 30s, later identified as passenger Gerald Howe from Austin, walks past Sarah's cabin carrying a bottle of beer. He's heading back to his cabin on Deck 6 after the midnight buffet. He doesn't stop. He doesn't look at cabin 742. 12:47 a.m. Asterisk a crew member in a white maintenance uniform walks down the corridor carrying a toolbox. The camera angle doesn't capture his face clearly, just the back of his head and shoulders. He stops briefly outside cabin 739. 1 door down from Sarah's, fiddles with something on the wall, later determined to be a loose light fixture, and continues walking. He exits the frame at 12:49 a.m. 1:23 a.m. Asterisk a female passenger, drunk and stumbling, walks past Sarah's cabin toward the elevator. She is later identified as Amanda Cross from Dallas. She tells investigators she doesn't remember anything from that night. 2:18 a.m. Asterisk another crew member, this one in a blue uniform, walks briskly down the corridor. He doesn't stop. He's later identified as Luis Vargas, a dining room steward finishing his shift. 3:05 a.m. *. The corridor is empty for the next 3 hours. No movement. No one enters or exits any cabin. 6:12 a.m. *. Housekeeping staff begin morning rounds, pushing carts. Agent Kwan circles the timestamp 12:47 a.m. on his notepad. "This guy," he says, tapping the screen showing the maintenance worker. "He's in the right place, right time, and we can't see his face." Hendricks watches the clip again. The man is approximately 5 feet 10 inches, medium build, dark hair visible beneath a white maintenance cap. The toolbox he carries is standard issue for ship engineers. But his face is angled away from the camera, as if he knows exactly where the lens is and is deliberately avoiding it. "Find out who was on maintenance duty that night," Hendricks orders. "I want every crew member in a white uniform accounted for." The ship's personnel records show that 12 crew members were assigned to overnight maintenance shifts on August 24th to 25th. Carlos Vega, the man who helped remove Sarah's door. Marcus Boone, 25, HVAC technician. Peter Kowalski, 34, electrician. Ahmed Hassan, 29, plumber. 8 others, all with verifiable assignments in different parts of the ship. Each man is re-interviewed. Each provides an alibi. Carlos Vega was repairing a malfunctioning freezer in the galley kitchen from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. 2 sous chefs confirm. Peter Kowalski was troubleshooting a power surge in the casino from midnight to 3 a.m. Security footage confirms his presence there. Ahmed Hassan was off-duty that night, asleep in his crew cabin. His roommate, another plumber named Diego Santos, confirms. That leaves Marcus Boone. Marcus Anthony Boone is 25 years old, originally from Pensacola, Florida. He's been working for the cruise line for 2 years as an HVAC and maintenance technician. His personnel file shows he's reliable, quiet, and keeps to himself. No disciplinary issues. No passenger complaints. He's interviewed by Agent Hendricks on September 18, 1990, in a small office on Deck 2 of the still impounded ship. "Mr. Boone, can you tell me where you were on the night of August 24th between midnight and 6 a.m.? Boone sits with his hands folded on the table. He's average height, lean, with dark hair cut short and a thin mustache. His eyes are brown and he looks tired. "I was working. We had a service call for a busted air handler on Deck 9, near the buffet." "What time did you start that repair?" "Around 11:30 p.m. The night manager radioed me. Passengers were complaining about the heat." "And how long did it take?" "Maybe 2 hours. I finished up around 1:30 or 2 a.m., I think." "You think?" "I didn't write it down. I just fixed it and went back to my quarters." "Did anyone see you during that time?" Boone shifts in his seat. "I don't know. Maybe. It was late. The buffet was closed. There might have been some passengers around, but I wasn't paying attention." Hendricks pulls out a photo. A still from the security footage showing the man in the white uniform at 12:47 a.m. on Deck 7. "Is this you?" Boone leans forward, squinting at the image. I don't think so. I mean, that looks like a maintenance uniform, but I was on Deck 9 that night, not Deck 7. "Are you certain?" "Yeah, pretty sure." Hendricks lets the silence sit. Boone fidgets. He picks at his thumbnail. He doesn't make eye contact. "Mr. Boone, did you know Sarah Jennings?" "Who?" "The missing passenger. Young woman, blonde hair, cabin 742. Boone shakes his head. "No, I don't know passengers' names. I just fix stuff." "Did you ever have reason to enter cabin 742? "I don't remember. Maybe. If there was a work order, sure. But I don't keep track." Hendricks checks her notes. Ship records show that cabin 742 had no maintenance requests filed during the August 18, 25 cruise. No air conditioning issues, no plumbing problems, no reason for Boone or any technician to enter that room. "We found a hair in Sarah's cabin," Hendricks says. "Dark, short, possibly male. We'd like to take a sample of your hair for comparison." Boone's eyes widen slightly. "Do I have to?" "You don't have to. But if you refuse, that raises questions." He exhales. Fine. Whatever. A forensic tech collects a hair sample from Boone's head using sterilized tweezers. The sample is labeled FBI, Boone Hair 001, and sent to Quantico for microscopic comparison. On October 2nd, the results come back. Inconclusive. The hair from cabin 742 is visually similar to Boone's hair in terms of color and thickness, but without DNA testing, a definitive match can't be made. The lab notes that approximately 30% of adult males of similar ethnic background share comparable hair characteristics. Hendricks pushes harder. She requests a polygraph. Boone agrees. The polygraph is administered on October 9th by a certified FBI polygrapher named Raymond Cole. Boone is asked 4 control questions and 6 relevant questions. Relevant questions *. Did you enter cabin 742 on the night of August 24th? Do you know what happened to Sarah Jennings? Were you on deck 7 between midnight and 2 a.m. on August 25th? Did you harm Sarah Jennings? Have you ever been inside cabin 742? Are you lying to us about your whereabouts that night? Results. No deception indicated on questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inconclusive on question 6. Polygraphs aren't admissible in court and are notoriously unreliable, but they guide investigators' focus. Hendricks is skeptical, but without physical evidence tying Boone to the scene, she has no grounds for arrest. On October 15th, Boone is formally cleared as a primary suspect, but remains a person of interest. He returns to work. 6 months later, he quits the cruise line and moves to Tampa, Florida. The investigation shifts to the passengers. Jennifer Calloway had mentioned that Sarah met a guy during the cruise, a medical student from Houston named Derek. Agents track him down. Derek James Callahan, 24, second-year medical student at Baylor College of Medicine. He lives in a small apartment near the Texas Medical Center. On October 20th, Agent Hendricks and Agent Kwan drive to Houston to interview him. Callahan is cooperative but visibly nervous. He's tall, clean-cut, with sandy brown hair and wire-rimmed glasses. I met Sarah on the 2nd day of the cruise, he says. At the pool bar. We started talking. She was funny, smart. We hung out a few times. How many times? I don't know. 4? 5? We had lunch together one day. Went to a couple of shows. It was just casual. Did you see her on the last night of the cruise? Yeah, at the talent show. She and her friend did that Madonna lip-sync thing. It was cute. What time did you last see her? Around 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock. I said goodnight and went back to my cabin. Did you go to her cabin? No. Did she invite you? No. We weren't like that. It was just vacation flirting. Did you have any physical relationship with her? Callahan's face reddens. We kissed. Once. On the 4th day after dinner. That was it. Agents check Callahan's alibi. His cabin was on deck 4, cabin 412. Security footage shows him entering his cabin at 11:23 p.m. on August 24th and not leaving until 9 a.m. the next morning. But they push further. On October 28th, Callahan consents to providing fingerprints and a DNA sample, cheek swab. Both are processed and compared to evidence from cabin 742. Results. Fingerprints * no match to any unidentified prints in the cabin. DNA * no sample available for comparison. The blood traces were too degraded. On November 5th, Callahan is cleared. Gerald Howe is the passenger seen on security footage at 12:14 a.m. walking past Sarah's cabin. He's a 37-year-old insurance adjuster from Austin, Texas, traveling alone. Agents find this suspicious. Why travel alone on a cruise? Howe is interviewed in Austin on November 12th. He's defensive from the start. I was on vacation. Is that a crime? We're just trying to establish where everyone was that night, Mr. Howe. I was in my cabin. Asleep. Security footage shows you walking past cabin 742 at 12:14 a.m. So, I was going back to my room. I had a beer at the midnight buffet. Then I went to bed. Did you see anyone else in the corridor? No. Did you hear anything unusual? No. Did you know Sarah Jennings? No. I didn't know anyone on that ship. I was by myself. Agents check his background. No criminal record. No history of violence. But his behavior on the ship was odd. He ate alone, sat alone at shows, spent most of his time in the casino or at the bar. On November 18th, Howe provides fingerprints and a DNA sample. Both come back negative, no match. On November 22nd, he's cleared. By December, the story is national news. Vanished. The Mystery of Cabin 742 airs on Unsolved Mysteries in January 1991. The episode features interviews with Jennifer Calloway, Carol and Robert Jennings, and Agent Hendricks. They show the security footage of Sarah entering her cabin. They show the empty room. They ask viewers to call a tip line if they have information. The tip line receives 347 calls. Most are irrelevant, psychics claiming Sarah is alive on a tropical island, conspiracy theorists blaming the cruise line, people who think they saw her in malls or gas stations. 3 calls are worth investigating. A woman claims she saw a crew member carrying a large duffel bag near the laundry room at 2 a.m. Agents investigate. The crew member was carrying dirty linens. Dead end. A passenger claims she heard a woman's voice yelling, "Help!" around 1 a.m. on August 25th. Agents interview her. She admits she'd been drinking heavily and isn't sure what she heard. An anonymous caller claims Marcus Boone had been creepy around female passengers. Agents re-interview Boone. He denies it. No witnesses corroborate. By February 1991, the media moves on. A plane crash in Colorado dominates the news. A celebrity scandal. A political crisis. Sarah Jennings becomes a footnote. Agent Hendricks spends 2 more years on the case before being reassigned. She leaves the FBI in 1994 to teach criminal justice at the University of Texas. But she keeps a copy of the case file in her home office, in a cardboard box labeled Jennings, unsolved. The official FBI file is transferred to the Cold Case Unit in 1995. It's stored in a climate-controlled evidence vault in Houston, filed alphabetically under J. Assigned case number 90 Maritime, 4721. The blood samples, the hair, the fingerprint cards, the VHS tapes, all sealed in boxes, stacked on metal shelves under pale fluorescent lights. The case is officially classified as pending investigation inactive. That means it's not closed, but no active work is being done. It sits. It waits. It gathers dust. Carol and Robert Jennings never stop searching. Every year on August 25th, they drive from Norman, Oklahoma, to Galveston, Texas. They stand at the dock where the Caribbean dream used to birth and place white roses in the water. They hold hands. They cry. Carol keeps Sarah's bedroom exactly as it was. The geology textbooks on the shelf. The vintage records stacked by the turntable. The white sundress hanging in the closet. The phone number remains the same, just in case Sarah calls. Every year, Carol sends a letter to the FBI asking for updates. Every year, she receives the same response. Asterisk, we regret to inform you that there have been no new developments in your daughter's case. We continue to consider all leads and appreciate your patience. Asterisk. By 2000, even those letters slow. The case is forgotten by everyone except the Jennings family. And Marcus Boone, who moved to Tampa in 1991, then to Orlando in 1998, then to Jacksonville in 2005, then finally to a quiet suburb outside Pensacola, Florida in 2010. He works as an HVAC technician for a property management company. He's never married. He keeps to himself. He watches the news. He waits. For 33 years, the case sleeps. And then, in 2023, science catches up. February 2023. Dr. Yolanda Martinez is 41 years old, a senior forensic geneticist with the FBI's Cold Case Genomics Unit, established in 2021 as part of a federal initiative to apply cutting-edge DNA technology to unsolved crimes. She has a PhD in molecular biology from Stanford and has worked on 17 cold case resolutions in 2 years, including 3 maritime cases. On February 6, 2023, she's reviewing a list of maritime cold cases from the 1990s when she comes across File 90 Maritime, 4721. Sarah Marie Jennings, missing/presumed deceased, August 1990, Gulf of Mexico. She reads the summary. Locked cabin. No body. Hair sample. Blood traces too degraded for 1990s DNA testing. She flags it. On February 10th, Martinez submits a request to retrieve the physical evidence from storage. The request is approved. On February 17th, a courier delivers a sealed evidence box to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia. Inside are 3 vials of dried blood samples, 1 hair sample in a small envelope, fingerprint cards, and photographs. Martinez examines the hair first. It's labeled FBI, Hair 004, collected August 26, 1990, from cabin 742 floor near bathroom. The hair is dark, short, approximately 2 inches long. Under a microscope, Martinez can see the cuticle is intact, but the root bulb is absent, which means the hair was likely cut or naturally shed, not forcibly pulled. In 1990, this hair was useless for DNA analysis without a root. In 2023, it's a gold mine. Martinez uses a technique called touch DNA extraction. Even without a root bulb, skin cells from the scalp often cling to the base of a hair shaft. Using enzymatic digestion and ultrasensitive PCR amplification, Martinez can extract trace amounts of nuclear DNA from those cells. On February 22nd, she places the hair in a sterile solution and begins the extraction process. Takes 6 days. On February 28th, she runs the DNA through a next-generation sequencer. The machine hums for 14 hours, reading the genetic code base pair by base pair, assembling a profile. On March 1st, at 9:47 a.m., the results appear on her computer screen. DNA profile recovered. Male. 19 core street markers identified, sufficient for database comparison. ***. Martinez uploads the profile to CODIS, the FBI's combined DNA index system, which contains over 21 million offender profiles. No match. She's not surprised. Most cold cases don't hit in CODIS. The suspect has no criminal record, or the crime predates widespread DNA collection. But Martinez has another tool: forensic genetic genealogy. March 2023 ***. Forensic genetic genealogy is the same technology that caught the Golden State Killer in 2018. It works by uploading a DNA profile to public genealogy databases like GEDmatch, where millions of people have voluntarily submitted their DNA to trace ancestry and find relatives. The system searches for partial matches, third cousins, fourth cousins, distant relatives who share segments of DNA. On March 3rd, Martinez uploads the profile to GEDmatch Pro, the law enforcement portal. The system runs for 48 hours, comparing the unknown male's DNA to 1.3 million profiles. On March 5th at 2:15 p.m., the results come back. 73 matches identified. Strongest match: 97.6 cm shared DNA. Estimated relationship: third cousin. ***. The strongest match is a woman named Patricia Linwood, age 68, living in Tallahassee, Florida. She uploaded her DNA to GEDmatch in 2019 to trace her family tree. Martinez contacts Patricia via the platform's secure messaging system. Patricia is confused at first. Why is the FBI reaching out? But she agrees to help. Over the next 2 weeks, Martinez and a team of genetic genealogists build a family tree. They start with Patricia's known ancestors and work backward, identifying common relatives. They comb through census records, birth certificates, marriage licenses, obituaries, social media profiles. They construct a tree with over 240 individuals spanning 5 generations. They narrow the focus to male descendants born between 1960 and 1975. The unknown DNA donor would have been approximately 20 to 35 years old in 1990. They filter further: males who lived in or near Florida in 1990, males who might have worked in the maritime industry. By March 20th, the list is down to 6 names. Marcus Anthony Boone, born 1965, Pensacola, Florida. Daniel Ruiz, born 1968, Miami, Florida. Kevin Hargrove, born 1970, Tampa, Florida. 3 others, all with verifiable alibis or deceased. Martinez runs each name through background checks. Daniel Ruiz was incarcerated in 1990 for unrelated charges. Impossible for him to be on the ship. Kevin Hargrove was in the U.S. Navy in 1990, stationed in Japan, also impossible. That leaves Marcus Anthony Boone. Martinez pulls his personnel file from the cruise line archives. Employed August 1988 to March 1991. HVAC technician. Assigned to the Caribbean Dream during August 1990. She pulls the 1990 FBI interview notes. Boone was questioned. He provided a hair sample. He passed a polygraph. He was cleared. But the hair sample from 1990 was never DNA tested. It was only visually compared under a microscope. Martinez requests that sample from storage. It's retrieved from the same evidence box. Labeled FBI, Boone, hair, 001. Collected October 2, 1990. On March 24, Martinez extracts DNA from Boone's 1990 hair sample and runs it through the sequencer. On March 26, the results are ready. She places the two profiles side by side on her screen. Unknown hair from cabin 742. FBI, hair, 004. Marcus Boone's reference sample. FBI, Boone, hair 001. She runs the comparison algorithm. The computer beeps. Match. 99.97% probability. Same donor. ****. Martinez stares at the screen, her heart pounding. She runs the test again. Same result. She picks up her phone and calls the case agent. "I've got a match," she says. "Marcus Boone. The hair from the cabin is his. He was there." April 2023. On April 3, 2023, FBI Special Agent Carla Menendez is assigned as lead investigator for the reopened case. Menendez is 46, a 20-year veteran specializing in cold case homicides. She's sharp, methodical, and relentless. She reviews the 1990 file. Boone was interviewed, provided samples, passed a polygraph, and was cleared. But now, 33 years later, science says he lied. He was in that cabin. Menendez begins building a case. First, she locates Marcus Boone. He's 58 years old now, living in a modest two-bedroom house in Gulf Breeze, Florida, a suburb outside Pensacola. He works as an HVAC technician for a local property management company. He drives a 2015 Honda Accord. He has no wife, no children, no social media presence. Public records show no criminal history, no arrests, no lawsuits. He lives quietly, invisibly. Menendez assigns 2 agents to conduct surveillance. For 3 weeks, they watch Boone's routine. Leaves for work at 6:45 a.m. Returns home at 5:30 p.m. Eats dinner alone. Watches TV. Twice a week, he drives to a nearby gym. On Saturdays, he shops for groceries. On Sundays, he drives to Pensacola Beach, parks near the pier, and sits in his car for 30 minutes, staring at the water. On April 28th at 2 a.m., Boone does something unusual. He leaves his house, gets in his car, and drives east on Highway 98. Agents follow at a distance. He drives for 45 minutes, eventually turning onto a dirt road near Blackwater River State Forest. He parks. He gets out. He walks into the woods, carrying a flashlight. Agents hold their position, watching from a quarter-mile away using night vision binoculars. Boone stops in a clearing, shines his light on the ground, and stands there for 10 minutes. Then he returns to his car and drives home. Menendez orders agents to search the clearing the next morning. They find nothing. No disturbed earth, no buried evidence, just trees and undergrowth. But the behavior is odd. Why drive to a remote forest at 2 a.m.? Is he checking something? Reliving something? On May 2nd, Menendez obtains a warrant to search Boone's trash. A legal tactic that doesn't require probable cause. Agents retrieve his garbage from the curb on trash collection day. Inside they find food wrappers, junk mail, a discarded soda can, Coca-Cola, 12 ounces, 3 cigarette butts, an empty shampoo bottle. The soda can and cigarette butts are sent to the lab for DNA extraction. On May 9th, the results come back. DNA from the soda can matches the hair from cabin 742. 99.99% certainty. Asterisk asterisk. Menendez now has probable cause. May 15, 2023. The arrest is planned meticulously. Menendez doesn't want Boone to run, destroy evidence, or harm himself. The team decides to move in early morning before he leaves for work. On May 15, 2023, at 6:10 a.m., four unmarked black SUVs roll silently into Boone's quiet suburban neighborhood. The sun is rising, the air cool at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, birds chirping in the oak trees. The street is empty except for one jogger, who doesn't notice the vehicles. At 6:15 a.m., 8 FBI agents in tactical vests position themselves around Boone's house, 2 at the front door, 2 at the back, for covering exits. Special Agent Menendez steps onto the front porch and knocks firmly. 30 seconds pass. The door opens. Marcus Boone stands there in a gray t-shirt and flannel pajama pants, barefoot, holding a coffee mug. His hair is gray now, thinning. His face is lined, weathered. His eyes are tired. He looks at Menendez, then at the agents flanking her, then at the SUVs in the street. He doesn't say anything. He just stands there holding his coffee. Marcus Anthony Boone? Menendez says, "Yes, I'm Special Agent Carla Menendez with the FBI. We have a warrant for your arrest in connection with the disappearance and death of Sarah Jennings in August 1990. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Do you understand these rights?" Boone's hand trembles. Coffee sloshes over the rim of the mug, dripping onto the porch. "Yes," he whispers. "Turn around and place your hands behind your back." He does. An agent steps forward with handcuffs. The metal clicks around his wrists. Boone is led to one of the SUVs. He doesn't resist. He doesn't speak. As the vehicle pulls away, neighbors start emerging onto their porches, watching in confusion. May 15th to 16th, 2023. Boone is transported to the FBI field office in Pensacola and placed in an interrogation room. Gray walls, fluorescent lights, a metal table bolted to the floor, 2 chairs. A camera records everything. At 9 a.m., Menendez enters the room. Boone sits with his hands folded, staring at the table. "Do you know why you're here, Marcus? You said something about 1990. Sarah Jennings. Do you remember her?" Boone doesn't look up. "No. She was a passenger on the Caribbean Dream in August 1990. You worked on that ship." "I worked on a lot of ships. She disappeared from cabin 742. We found your DNA in that cabin. Hair. Your hair. Can you explain that?" Boone is silent for a long time. Then, "I want a lawyer." The interrogation ends. Boone is transferred to the Escambia County Jail and held without bail. His court-appointed attorney, a public defender named Thomas Garza, advises him to remain silent. But 2 weeks later, something shifts. On May 30th, Garza calls Menendez. "My client wants to talk." May 31st, 2023. At 10 a.m. on May 31st, Boone is brought back to the FBI interrogation room. This time, his attorney sits beside him. Menendez sits across from them, a file folder in front of her. "Marcus, you said you want to talk. Go ahead." Boone takes a breath. His voice is quiet, flat, emotionless. "I didn't mean to hurt her." Menendez leans forward. "Tell me what happened." "I was doing a maintenance check. Late night. The AC system on Deck 7 had been acting up. I was going cabin to cabin, checking vents, making sure airflow was okay. I knocked on 742. She answered. She was in pajamas. She said the air wasn't working. I told her I'd take a look. Did she let you in?" "Yeah. She was nice about it. I went to the vent near the bathroom, opened it, checked the filter. It was clogged. I told her I'd replace it, but I needed to get a new one from storage. She said okay." "What time was this?" "Maybe 12:30, 12:45. I don't remember exactly." "Then what?" Boone's jaw tightens. His hands clench. I came back with the filter. I knocked again. She opened the door. I went inside. I started installing the filter. And then, I don't know. She was standing there watching me. And I looked at her. And something came over me. I moved toward her. She stepped back. She told me to leave. I grabbed her arm. She tried to scream. I put my hand over her mouth. Menendez's voice is steady, clinical. And then, she fought. She was strong. But I was stronger. I held her down. She stopped moving. I didn't mean to kill her. I swear. I just wanted her to stop screaming. What did you do with her body? Boone closes his eyes. I panicked. I wrapped her in the bedsheet. I waited until it was really late, like 3 o'clock or 4 a.m., when the corridors were empty. I carried her to the service elevator. Took her down to deck 1, near the laundry room. There's a door there, for crew, that leads to an exterior platform. We use it for loading supplies when we're docked. I opened it. The ocean was right there, maybe 10 feet below. I pushed her over. And the cabin door? You locked it from inside. Yeah. I used the deadbolt. Then I left through the porthole. Menendez frowns. The porthole is too small for an adult. Boone shakes his head. Not that porthole. The one in the bathroom is bigger. I removed the screws, opened it wide enough to squeeze through. Then I climbed onto the exterior deck, went around to the service stairs, and came back inside. I replaced the screws later. Menendez checks the 1990 file. The bathroom porthole was examined, but the screws weren't checked for tampering. An oversight. Marcus, why didn't you just walk out the door? Because I knew the cameras would see me leaving. If her body was found, they'd check who went in and out. But if the door was locked from inside, it'd look like she was never there. Or like she jumped. I don't know. I wasn't thinking straight. Where did you get the idea? Boone shrugs. I'd seen locked room mystery movies. I just improvised. The confession continues for 2 hours. Boone provides details only the killer would know. The exact color of Sarah's pajamas, light blue with white flowers. The book on her nightstand, The Firm Asterisk by John Grisham. The fact that her key card was on the dresser, not in her purse. By the end, it's clear. Marcus Boone killed Sarah Jennings. October 2023. Marcus Boone is charged with second-degree murder, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. Because the crime occurred in federal waters, it's prosecuted in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. The trial begins on October 16, 2023, in a federal courthouse in Pensacola. The prosecution presents the DNA evidence, the confession, the timeline, and the forensic recreation of how Boone exited the cabin through the bathroom porthole. Boone's defense attorney argues that the confession was coerced, that the DNA could have been transferred innocently during his maintenance work. But the jury doesn't buy it. On October 27th, after deliberating for 6 hours, the jury returns a verdict. Guilty on all counts. On November 10, 2023, Judge Helen Morales sentences Marcus Boone to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Carol and Robert Jennings sit in the front row of the courtroom, holding hands. Carol reads a victim impact statement. For 33 years, we didn't know where our daughter was. We didn't know if she suffered. We didn't know who took her from us. Now we know. And while nothing can bring Sarah back, at least we have answers. At least we have justice. Boone is led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. He doesn't look at the Jennings family. November 2023. On November 18, 2023, Carol and Robert Jennings return to Galveston, Texas, for the final time. They stand at the dock where the Caribbean dream once birthed, though the ship itself was decommissioned in 2005 and scrapped. They drop white roses into the water, as they've done every year for 33 years. But this time, it's different. We can stop coming now, Carol says softly. We can let her rest. Robert nods, tears streaming down his face. They stand there for a long time, watching the roses drift on the current, carried out toward the Gulf. December 2023. Laura Hendricks, now 72 years old and long retired from the FBI, receives a phone call from Agent Menendez on December 5th. We got him, Menendez says. Marcus Boone. Convicted. Life sentence. Hendricks sits in silence for a moment, phone pressed to her ear. She's in her study, the old case file still in a box on the shelf. "Thank you," she whispers. "I always knew he did it, but we just couldn't prove it back then." "You did everything you could with the tools you had," Menendez says. "Science caught up to him," Hendricks says. Finally, after the call, Hendricks pulls out the box, opens it, and looks at the faded photograph of Sarah Jennings. Smiling, young, full of life. She closes the file for the last time. The Gulf of Mexico is calm tonight, the water dark and endless beneath a sky full of stars. Somewhere out there, 180 miles southeast of Galveston, the ocean keeps its secrets. Currents and tides, creatures in the deep, and the memory of a young woman who wanted to study rocks and listen to vinyl records and live a long, happy life. But the ocean didn't keep this secret forever. A single strand of hair, preserved for 33 years, finally told the truth. In the end, evidence doesn't forget. It waits. And when science is ready, it speaks. For Sarah Marie Jennings, justice was delayed for more than 3 decades. But it was not denied.